Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to On the Horizon, podcast on business and technology. I'm here with Mark Seghers. He's the CEO and founder of Inspire HT. I'm Mitch Scarski with Horizon Managed Services. If you guys don't know what we do, we serve local businesses in the community, whether it be with Southern Wisconsin or Northern Illinois, to use technology to help them grow their business. So whether you're looking to invest in technology, whether it be cybersecurity, automation, or artificial intelligence to expand and grow, then we serve small and medium-sized businesses in this area. So please feel free to contact us in the link below. But Mark, thanks so much for taking some time to speak with me today. If we just get things kind of, kicked off, can you tell me, a little bit more about your background and your story? I was just taking a look at your LinkedIn profile, and it looks like, from a lack of a better term, you're a serial entrepreneur. So I'm curious to hear a little bit more about, what drove you to kind of take that path in life, compared to, a traditional type of working environment.
Yeah, I have been a serial entrepreneur, but I started out sort of in the corporate world, in IT as a programmer for some big companies. And that kind of led to my being an e-commerce leader. And back when e-business was a thing, I was VP of e-business for a large insurance company. And that gave me a lot of experience, kind of help, leading people and kind of understanding the industry, the insurance industry, that is. So I got scooped up by a small company who had this product for brokers, and they were called Go Health, and back then they were called Norvax, and they had a product for insurance agents, and it was a new internet product. It was really exciting. It would give agents a way to do quoting and to provide quotes on insurance products to their customers that visited their website. And I thought, hey, this is pretty cool. And this was like around the year 2003, I think. That started my entrepreneurial phase of my career, which I've been in ever since. So I've had several companies, and, I'm still kind of doing it. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, as far as where you're at right now with, Inspire Health Tech, I guess, where did you come up with that idea and essentially, kind of find that pain point and that solution within the market? And how did you bring that to market? Obviously, you had that idea, you brought it to market, and you made a successful business. How did you go about just building that from the ground up?
Yeah, well, thank you. It's a great question. I love your words, pain point. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, and I've made this mistake maybe in the past as well, being part of a team where you go in and you think there's an idea here, and you love your own idea, and you just kind of takes on a life of its own, but you may not necessarily be solving a pain point. And I think that's where we kind of hit on something, I think, here with Inspire Health Tech. A few years back, I was working with one of the largest providers of data and pricing and analytics and AI even for the insurance industry. And my previous startup, I was part of a team that we were acquired, and our tech was acquired by this company. They're a $2 billion global company, and they had some really interesting technology around helping a consumer find the right insurance plan, right? And it was a Medicare technology that helped a senior find the right Medicare plan, personalized to them and totally unbiased to anything that the agent wants to, maybe sell at them, right? And this really kind of struck a chord with me. And so this company really wasn't geared more towards the consumer market. They thought this would be a useful tool for, carriers and things, and I had a different use for it. So I thought, well, why not bring this to the consumer market? Why not make this be a thing where the consumers, all these seniors out there who are often, the victims of predators and, predatory marketing, right? And why not bring them a tool that really helps them research, find the right Medicare plan, and answer those questions? I have older siblings and relatives and friends. They complain that their phone rings off the hook and these agents won't leave them alone, and everybody's selling their own plan and no one's listening to what their needs are. I thought this would be a great thing to bring to the market. So we've been at it now. Last year was our first full year. we built our engine and we got our first few customers. And now this year is really exciting. And we're talking to some big companies. And, our original idea was the consumer, and you talk about how, sometimes your original startup idea is not where you end up, right? And so originally we thought we could be that brand and have a consumer brand where everybody comes to us and we show them the right plan using this tool. And instead, though, we decided it would be a lot better to partner with people who are already working with consumers, already driving all that traffic, already have an online brand. Let's give them the tool that can help them and help them serve their consumer better than they were able to do before.
Definitely. I mean, that sounds like a really cool, product. I know at least in, even me, I get tons and tons of calls from, insurance carriers and stuff like that. And you don't know who you can trust at the end of the day when it comes to, what they're trying to sell, and they'll position themselves in a different way. And then when it comes to the actual product and when you do more research, it's something completely different from what somebody says. So I think that's a really cool idea that you can give that to people that are maybe older and not, that are a little bit more susceptible to these, type of, I guess, kind of slimy sales tactics, for lack of a better term. But that's a really cool business model, and that's awesome. I guess my next question would be just, obviously, besides, some companies that you're trying to work with and consumers, what would be the ideal person that you're looking to work with, and how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, great question, Mitchell. What we do is we work with consumer brands, right? So if you're an agency that has a website and you want your website to do a better job of pre-educating consumers prior to them talking to one of your agents, that can really be a big benefit for you. So we're looking to talk to agencies, like contact center agencies that call out or receive inbounds. We're also looking to talk to field marketing organizations who have agents around the country and they need to get them leads. We can create a kind of a centralized presence that then sends those leads out to your agents after the person has aligned to certain plans that might be right for them. Now we connect them to the right agent for them. So there's two steps are, help the person align with some of the right plans so they can see that these plans are better and these plans might not be, right for them. Then they talk to an agent. It's a much shorter phone call. So the benefit to the agency is that they're not on the phone explaining Medicare and talking through all the options and going back and forth about which ones are, maybe more aligned to the needs of the person, which ones might not be right. It's a really long process to sell insurance over the phone. And with this, you're giving them the opportunity, and age 65 is not that old anymore as it relates to technology. These people grew up with the internet, right? So they want to pre-research. They want to do that. And so rather than do a bait and switch and promise them online quotes and then now the phone rings off the hook forever, let's let them do a little bit of research. Let's build that trust. Let's let them do some of the work on their own so they can see the market. They can see where some of the plans might be better and some maybe not as good and for them. And now let's connect them to an agent. Now the agent can help them get, signed up for the plan that they might be right. They can answer the final questions that the consumer has. It's a much shorter call. Everybody benefits. And it engenders trust at point of sale as well. So we believe that these consumers will return to this agency that provided this process for them to help them find the right plan and, to smoothly get them enrolled.
Definitely. Well, it sounds like a great way to streamline that process and ultimately, benefits the customer, benefits the insurance, the agencies too, helps speed up that process quite a bit and, not waste as much time. Awesome. Well, just my final question would be, just in general question. I mean, what specific advice or just general advice would you give to someone looking to start their own business or get into entrepreneurship?
Oh yeah. That's a big question, right? It's a good question. I've made mistakes over the years and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I learned. Cause that's really, as humans, unfortunately, It's the only way we learn, right? Is by making mistakes and feeling the pain from those mistakes, right? So, this is all off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm missing some things, but I think it's really important to choose the right team and to bring in people who are equally passionate about that pain point and have that they share that vision of solving that pain point for the customer. That's super, super important. You have to be completely architected from the ground up to be focused on the needs of your customer. And as opposed to focused on making money or, all these other things that are out there. If you're aligned with the needs of the consumer or your B2B customer and, you stay focused on that, I think that's hugely important. And you also have to align yourself to other people who share that vision. So that's number one. I think number two, make sure you understand the market. Make sure you understand other companies out there who might be offering today what you think is a great idea. You might, do the quick Google search and, you might see that there's people out there. Don't necessarily just give up if there's somebody offering something similar. See maybe that there's problems, maybe that they're not doing things the right way. Do the research and, also do the numbers because the financials really will tell the story. Try to project your revenues and your expenses in a realistic way. And then when you've got your revenue projections, cut them in half at least. Even after you've gotten the most conservative ones, cut them in half again. And then the expenses, double them and say, can I sustain this? Can I get there? And, I think those are some important things, things to think about when you start. Also, finally, one other thing I would say is go into things that align with what you've done in the past. Don't try to just suddenly jump into being an entrepreneur in an industry that you know nothing about. Not only will you fail, right, but you'll waste a lot of time in your career. And because it's not only about just the validity of the idea. You might have the best idea in the world, but if you're not part of that industry, you don't have connections in that industry, you don't know who all the players are and who all the customers would be. You're starting from scratch. And now, you need people to not only believe in your idea, but you need to answer, why should I work with you? If you don't know my industry, you don't know all the buzzwords and the acronyms, and you haven't paid your dues, no one's going to listen to you. So leverage what you've done and build a company around an idea in an industry that you know.
Sure. I think those are all great tips, especially, number two, of having those expectations and then cutting them down. I know you see, a lot of, either people trying to sell like, hey, I can give you this business, or hey, I can grow your business by X amount. And, it's important at the end of the day to have really realistic expectations of what you want to do and how fast that you can grow. I think that's a really good point. I think it's a really real answer that you don't hear that much from a lot of people. It's more so kind of like, follow your dreams and you'll make millions kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of deal.
And you might, I'm reminded of that cartoon where it shows there's a prospector digging underground and he's got a pick and shovel, and he's digging, and he gives up and he turns around and you can see through a cross section of the ground that the treasure was like an inch away if you would have hit that pickaxe one more time. I'm not necessarily saying that, that you should give up. You've got to try. You've got to keep trying, but don't try past the point where you've been told by the market that over and over again, you're not wanted. I've also seen people kind of, dig forever when there's nothing there. It's hard to know, but when you're there, you'll know it. And that's, I think the key piece is you will know once you get there. And it always takes longer than you think because you've got to go through that full thing for the market. It's, that you've heard AIDA, right? Awareness, interest, desire, action. That's how people make decisions to buy something. But that's also how the market functions. So the market is this organic entity. The market has to be aware of you first. They have to hear you a few times. Then they start getting maybe interested. Doesn't matter what you say, how many times you call, how many times you email them. They have to hear from others that you're a thing, that you exist, right? And then they have to have an interest. That interest builds. And then now it has to align with what they need and what their pain points are. That's where the desire comes. All right, I want what you have, right? And then and only then are you going to get those sales and that action. There's a natural process and a natural time frame that's associated with those AIDA steps on a market basis. It can't be rushed, no matter how hard we try.
Awesome. Well, Mark, I really appreciate the time this morning. This concludes this episode. If you guys want to check out what Mark's got going on at Inspire Health Tech, his information will be down below as well as ours. I will see you guys next week. Thank you.